Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for May 2015. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, where you can see more about my live coaching and you can see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program, both of which are available on a sliding scale, and both of which are intended to help you navigate through the torrents of the stars with more ease and grace and to have a more enjoyable, more wonderful life. And while you're there, you can see what classes I have upcoming, check my class schedule, and you can sign up for my free email newsletter where you become part of my community. So what's going on in May? May is a period of time to integrate the many changes that have come into your world from the eclipses. We had an amazingly powerful lineup of eclipses, and by the time May comes, we're very much in this mode of trying to regain some level of normalcy, whatever that looks like, in the wake of these new changes. And for some of you, these changes would have been very amazing, like wow, really great things. And some of you it would be just absolutely devastating, horrible, very bad news. And some of you may have experienced both ends of the spectrum, sometimes even the same day. Eclipse time is very powerful, and the fact that Uranus was involved with the lunar eclipse brought a lot of surprises. Eclipses generally bring shocking things anyway, things that seem like they come from the blue. Also things that are, we call them non-negotiable, so they're like things that come in and there's not always that much you can do about them. You just have to do the best you can. And when Uranus is involved there's a lot more of that surprise, kind of electrifying to your core type of potential. And so in May, most if not all of the main news will have come in from the eclipses, and this is a time to be dealing with the things that have happened or settling into the new life that has been created. And it's very much a time for rest. It's very much a time to not have an agenda. It's very much a time to be flexible. We've got Mercury going retrograde this month. We have 6 aspects that are antagonistic to the sign or the sign of Gemini, which Mercury rules. So Mercury is very much afflicted in this month through aspects to Mercury or to planets that are in Gemini, which Mercury rules. So usually Mercury and Gemini energy is very light, it's very lively, it's very active, and there's going to be that. There's going to be busy things are going on, but there's a lot of this something coming in and just stopping that movement, something coming in and putting a halt to whatever's going on, or plans being made not being followed through with, not having clarity, a lot of confusion. The aspects at the end of the month are all involving Neptune, which brings this especially in a challenging aspect, brings like a cloak of not knowing, of this mystery. And because it's in a challenging aspect, that means many people are going to experience it as they really want to know the answer and they really want to have the answers, but they don't have them, and there's something frustrating about that. So there are wonderful things to do this month. There are wonderful ways to use this energy, and there is always a positive frame that we can put on even the most challenging things. And by doing this, we can alter our experience of them. So for instance, as the month progresses and things happen where you feel like you're trying to move in certain directions and you're being stopped communicating, your transportation, your mobility, your information sharing is stopping, either through problems with device or an authority figure coming in or confusion, lack of clarity, all of these different ways that these things can happen. Know that it's likely you're not supposed to be focusing on those things right now, so rather than pushing through with frustration, take the hint. So if something's up with your device, rather than freaking out, take a device break. If you have work to do, table it. You know, some of your work will be able to be tabled, some of it won't, but the universe wants you to rest at this time. We're just leaving a time of such active energy. Besides the eclipses, we had the end of February, all of March, all of April, in this forward movement, getting stuff done, planting seeds, active, active, active. And that pace is not meant to be sustained. There are times that we have to rest so that when those other times come again, you have the strength to be able to do what needs to be done. Right at the beginning, before I talk about that, So something beneficial to being seemingly stopped at the pass is that when your mind is quiet, when your mouth is quiet, when your surroundings are quiet, when you're not moving, when your body is quiet, there are solutions that can come to you that can supersede the challenges that are going on. And that this month is very much about creative solutions coming in through stillness. Very much a month for stillness and for not having agenda and not having too much of a plan. Okay, so right from the beginning of the month, we've got Mercury in the sign of Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini, so whenever it's in Gemini, it's amplified in its Gemini expression. Mercury always has some level of Gemini expression, even when it's in other signs. It's just, they're related that way. But when it's in Gemini, there's more movement. There's more sparkling and growth and just movement, a lot of movement. And then Saturn comes in and there's a 180-degree angle between Mercury and Saturn. And that's antagonistic. That stops things. That's like an authority figure coming in and stopping kids from playing, you know, which I talk about in my my write-up. I do a write-up every month for my, if you're on my email newsletter list, you get a write-up of the month coming with certain dates and things, sometimes in more of a clear order than I discuss them in the horoscopes because I jump all over the place, but you can see them more cohesively. But I call this month of May, the twins dominate. And the twins are the symbol for Gemini because they're like these mischievous twins, you know, that just have all of this energy and they sparkle and they're magical and they're active and they think fast and talk fast and move fast. And then Saturn comes. Saturn's like the dad that comes and just takes the twins and separates them and grounds them. They're getting into mischief. They're having way too much fun. So that energy pervades the whole month. So things that you're thinking you're trying to do, having fun or being free, things come in and sort of throw a wrench in that. First of those aspects is May 3rd. On the same day, May 3rd, we have a full moon in Scorpio. Now, full moons already bring things to fullness, completion, fruition. But when you have a full moon in a water sign, the chances for that being very emotional are amplified. So leave some space around those first couple of days of the month to deal with the challenges that may come up then. So then we have May 15th, we have now Mars in Gemini. So Mars rules your movement, how you use your energy. Mercury is more of your communication and transportation and mobility, and Mars rules your physical movement, like your body, not necessarily in a vehicle or, you know, verbally or through information. And that's coming now and having a 180 degree, an opposition, challenging antagonistic angle to Saturn again. So it's like there's more movement. It's like, nope, no movement or backwards movement. This time the universe wants you to be still. Okay, so then on May 17th or 18th, depending on your time zone, we have the new moon in Taurus. And the new moons bring new energy and seed planting time. But we also have some challenges at this new moon. It's afflicted in some ways because this Mars and Saturn opposition is a couple of days before, and then right after on May 18th, we have Mercury going retrograde. And when Mercury goes retrograde, we know the days around that, several days before, several days after May 18th, are even more haywire as far as communication and transportation. So you're going to hear me say Mercury, mobility, communication, transportation 1,000 times this month because so much is going on involving Mercury and Gemini. So that is happening all of May pretty much because the shadow period starts May 4th. The official retrograde of Mercury and Gemini happens May 18th. That goes through June 11th. Then there's a shadow period from June 11th to June 27th after the fact. So May and June are very much entrenched in Mercury retrograde. And then right on the heels of getting that energy clear, we have the Venus retrograde shadow starting June 22nd. And so this, if you've been listening to my horoscopes, you know that I was telling you do everything forward moving you can at the end of February, March, and April, because once we hit May, we've got 6 months of personal planets being retrograde and shadow periods back to back, where it's not the best time to burst things forth. Now, it's not to say you're not going to do anything for 6 months. That's ridiculous. Of course you are. There's things that can be done. You're going to be doing things, but it's just a different energy. It's going back over things. It's trying things on. It's reevaluating the things that you launched. It's reconsidering. It's going back to things from the past, bringing projects back from the past and making them new. You know, things like that. It's just the energy is different, and it's very much cloaked in uncertainty or going backwards or checking back into things, problems from the past coming back, good things from the past coming back, opportunities from the past coming back. And that theme starts in May and runs through the end of October. So if you're listening to this before May and you haven't launched things, or you're waiting to launch something May through October, like a big launch, try to launch it beforehand, even if it's a soft launch, even if it's not quite ready, so that its official birthday is in that time when the energy is more clear. Then you can fine tune things during the retrograde. So at the end of the month, we've got 3 squares with Neptune. Mars in Gemini, square Neptune, Mercury in Gemini, square Neptune, and the Sun in Gemini, square Neptune. And Neptune, like every planet, every placement, every sign, has a range of potential expressions. There's no one planet or sign that is just good or bad. There's different associations that we have, but they all have this range of potential expression from lowest to highest. When Neptune or any planet is in a challenging angle, we expect more of the challenging aspects or the more negative aspects to manifest. And the challenging aspects of Neptune are, it brings deception, cloudiness, not seeing the whole picture, not having the whole picture, confusion, losing touch with reality to the point of that it's debilitating or dangerous. And this all has to do with Mars, your body. You know, how you're moving your body. It has to do with Mercury, your communication, your transportation. It has to do with the Sun, which is your vitality. And these are challenges. And that's all like from around the aspects start the 25th, but you could feel them a little earlier. You know, that last 10 days or so of the month, it's very much Neptunian. And Mercury is still retrograde at that time. So if you have to make a big decision about something, if you can table it, that would be great, because you just don't have all the information. So just sit back. People will want to make plans with you. Know that the plans they make will change. If you're trying to make plans, buy tickets that are refundable or don't have change fees. You know that your schedule is going to change. And it's a fine time for traveling. It's a fine time for doing things. Mercury retrograde is great for traveling, and people can have wonderful trips. But again, if you have to overstructure your trips, you're going to probably have more stress, because it's just not the kind of energy that lends itself to structure that way. It's more loose, like the energy of a road trip where you can leave in any set of days, this week or next week, and then you can stay for this amount of time or that amount of time, and you've gotten your car checked out beforehand, and you have all your pre-work done. Those are the kind of trips that you can really sink into, because it's just a relaxed flowing energy. So sometimes Mercury retrograde, especially in Gemini, can exacerbate nervous symptoms, and Virgo energy tends to hold on to this nervous energy anyway. So you might need some support with relieving stress. You might join a gym. You might start meditating, or just being mindful of your breathing. There's so many free things that you can do. The internet is so wonderful. You can find free techniques for stress reduction, that work, breathing techniques, yoga poses. There's no one that needs to be blocked out from being assisted with problems that they have, as long as the internet's around. And if you need something more than just from yourself, you can create that too. Retrograde is a really great time to go back over things. If there are symptoms coming up, it's a really good time to check into those things. Many Virgos, especially early middle Virgos, are going to be really questioning work. This retrograde cycle is going to be very much about career, work, and life purpose. Do I like my job? What do I want to do? What would I do? What do I have to do? Can I change my overhead so that I don't need to work as much? Or can I make a go at something that I love? Or can I be building that in the backdrop while I'm at this job? You can do what you love and get paid for it. You can do what you love and get paid through other ways, so that you can do what you love even if you don't get paid for it. People do this. I do this, and I've helped many people to do this. And this is a time where many of you are asking questions about your work and what you're here to do, and are you fulfilling your purpose? The 10th house also has to do with parental things, authority things, sometimes more directly related to father. Sometimes mother things pop up there. So going back over situations with your dad, if there's healing to be done with your father, This is a wonderful time to do this. Sometimes sickness or illness is what facilitates healing, but we don't have to have that happen. You can proactively go back over things. Or if you have been in a situation where the eclipse brought in news about one of your parents or you, and this could be a time for you to go back over and heal things. Cancer is so prevalent in our societies because Cancer represents a rogue energetic thought form that takes a hold in a person that's contrary to the workings, the natural workings of the body. So it's not on the same page with the body working together. And these are little pockets of unresolved things, and they're emotionally based. And more mainstream medicine is realizing that meditation, emotional work is very much relevant to things like cancer or to any other diagnosis. So if you or someone you love is in a situation like this, I urge you to seek out all of the different ways to go about addressing this growing human concern. The reason why it's growing is because, well, there's a lot of reasons, and we can get into that at a later time, but part of it is because we're not addressing part of the issue that is really relevant, and that is the emotional aspect of it. And so this period of time with Mercury retrograde for many of you is that going back over things relating to father or relating to authority. The rest of you who don't have that particular aspect of Mercury going on, you still have Mercury in your 9th house at this point, and it will be retrograde in your 9th house. And there's also some other strong energy there for all Virgo placements in the 9th house, very strongly accentuated the 9th house for the month of May. And the 9th house is all about teaching and learning and inspiring and broadening horizons and optimism and religions and studies and helping people and inspiring people, different countries, different cultures, different languages. So many of you are going to be going back to things that you studied before, or back to an old church that you went to, or back to a philosophy that you went to. A lot of going back over things is going to be occurring. And checking in to see if these things are still true for you, or you might be studying something you were interested in before. Mercury retrograde is an amazing time to study. It's an amazing time to research. It's an amazing time to take classes. If you're the person teaching the classes, then just know that a lot of people are going to have trouble with their schedule. So like if you schedule a class in Mercury retrograde, it's not a bad time for learning because people really, it's good for them learning at that time. But you might find that you wish you didn't pick that certain day, or you might find that people who RSVP don't show up. So in those cases, I urge you to have people pay for the classes beforehand, and then have some sort of playback available to people who don't make it in order to facilitate this process, because so many people's schedules are going to be changing. But it's not a bad time for teaching or a bad time for learning. You just have to keep in mind the changeability of the time. So 9th house aspected strongly that for many of you, this could be international travel or connections with people from different countries, or business, international business of some sort, publishing, broadcasting, speaking, things like that. So I can't see what's going on in your personal chart. I'd like very much to, if you'd like to have a live reading with me, or if you would like to use my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, both of which are available on a sliding scale, both of which are intended to help you go inward to shift the constructs that are creating your outer world. Your life is the way it is because of what's inside. And when you have problems coming up as patterns in your outer life, when you shift the internal space, you shift the way life is coming to you, or how you're experiencing the things that happen. And that is my department. So also check into my class schedule. Also sign up for my free email newsletter where you become part of my community. And I hope you have a wonderful May. I'll see you next month. Bye.